So I was starting to change the strings on this guitar, and I thought, a lot of people probably don't know how to change their own strings, and it's pretty easy. Now there's lots of ways for the removal, but I'll give you the quick and dirty of what I did. You loosen them up here at the tuning knobs, right? Get them nice and loose, and then I just cut them off. The other option is you wind them all the way off, and you got to take this off anyhow, and you pop each of these guys, your little pegs out, keep track of them, and then throw away your old strings. This is my daughter's little guitar. Apparently she bought it when she was overseas serving in the military, and she told me the other night when I was teaching her a little bit about guitar that these were the original strings, and she thought they were like 6 years old. And I said, well, they absolutely need changed. And I buy strings in bulk, so here we go. Now, another thing we're gonna do on this guitar, we're gonna adjust this truss rod a little bit. So your truss rod, depending on your guitar, is where it's placed at. So there's a hole up here, and that's where the adjustment, that's where her truss rod is. Some are up here at the headstock. It just depends. Now this is a Taylor Baby. It's tiny. I will tell you, really cool thing to do now in 2026, or has been for quite a few years now, is to download the free app, Guitar Tuna. And I really have enjoyed that for a on-the-go tuner, and it will tell you by negative or positive points how far off you are, sharp or flat. And it's free. It's my favorite thing, free 99. I'm almost always going to tell you how to do something free or inexpensive. When you get done, it says, hey, do you want to play this song? And it gives you a song to try to learn to play. Granted, you've got to already know your chord shapes, but that's pretty fun. One of my little auction wins was this cool little guitar repair kit. The next question you have to figure out is, which way do I need to adjust to this truss rod to make the guitar neck come up or go down? In this case, and I didn't explain that earlier, in this case, the action's a little high, so the strings are a little far off there. I like them a little bit closer. You can figure out exactly what you want and what they should be per specs, and you can measure them, or you can do what I do, put it where you like it and go on with life. So I want to apologize that the first half of this video was like from here down. But let's get back to it. So this needs a 1/4-inch nut driver on the Taylor Baby acoustic guitar. Lots of different things you can do to get there. I did go just find a 1/4-inch socket. Problem's gonna be this is so big, it's gonna be annoying to get between the strings and do it, but we'll be able to do it. Typically, it's gonna be righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. If your neck is bent up too far, so like your strings down here are up pretty high, they're higher here and then a lot lower here, then you're gonna need to tighten the truss rod to bring the neck back. If you're getting buzzing at like the 5 and 7 fret, then you need to loosen it to allow it to bow up. You can internet search all these things, what type of tools you need. Is it a Allen wrench? Is it a nut driver? Is it a, I don't know, a flux capacitor? Oh, great Scott! The next one I want to do, I just want to clean this up before we start putting it back together, putting strings on it and making some adjustments. So, all right, this here is the F1 unfinished fretboard care kit. I think I ordered this off Amazon. Seems like, man, it just seems like everything comes from there. Got to figure out how we can start supporting more mom and pop shops, because we're losing them and they're too important, especially to us musicians, because we need that place where we can visit and hang out and talk and learn. That doesn't just involve the internet, right? I know, crazy talk. I think it's just, you just give it a little drop on each one. There are instructions. You already know if you're a man, you're not going to read those things. I lied, I've read them in the past. I'm just not going to read them today. I think we can go with the little more aggressive side to make sure we're getting the dirt and everything off there. I don't need the brush. I did an electric guitar up for a friend of mine to give to his son for Christmas. It was his deceased brother's guitar, and he wanted to make it nice for his son. So it was really bad, dirty, and like this brush wasn't even enough. And so I got a little bit of I got a lightweight Scotch pad, and just, man, it was scary. I wasn't sure what was gonna happen, if that was gonna be safe or not. So I just went in real easy and then worked it out. And man, it worked out good. This was not very dirty at all. I'm not sure why I'm being the aggressive side of this cloth. A little more on there, huh? I mean, you're just gonna wipe off the excess, so whatever. It's gotten a little dry. You know, you gotta care for these things a little bit, right? If you don't know, you should keep your guitars, your instruments, at about 47% humidity. There's different ways to do that. One is to get a room humidifier and tell it to keep the room at 47% humidity. In my case, here in Kansas, near Missouri, I'm a back and forth. Sometimes the year, I'm struggling to get humidity out of here. Other times of the year, I'm struggling to get humidity in here. So one of the great things to do with your guitar is get it a decent case and keep it in there. And if you want to get really crazy, you can buy little humidipacks to keep in there with them, almost like you would do with cigars, except for cigars need to be way more humid than your guitar. I mean, 47% humidity is not a lot. Now, I actually have a conditioner for the guitar too, somewhere. I may have to read the instructions. Pretty certain I'm doing this right. I might take a look, but I won't let you see me do that. Won't let you see me in my weakness. And I'm sure the camera's not giving you anything on how this board just was so dry and is just coming back to life now. Looks good. You know, I talked about the truss rod earlier, and I skipped a step. Your strings have to be on. It's supposed to be on and tuned, and I did not do that. So probably wouldn't have been a good place to start with the old strings on it, just because, I mean, it is here nor there. So I have the Diodario, however you would prefer to say it, phosphorus bronze, EJ16s here. I'm not sponsored by anyone, as you should know. This is a 12. This is what they call their light gauge. Never used them. It was given to me. I've been buying the Ernie Ball Earthwood lights, which is an 11 to 52, so just a touch smaller, and that's their idea of a light gauge acoustic guitar string. A few years ago when I started playing acoustic guitar, I was convinced that this was the string to have. I've liked it pretty well. My guitar playing friends have convinced me to try a different brand. So, like I said, see, I buy them in bulk, so, and I'm too cheap to just not use something that I've already paid for. Plus, does that really even make sense? All right, so you got your little pin here that goes back down in your bridge, and you'll see a slot in it. So you've got the ball on the end of the string. You'll put, the ball in there. You've got the slot. Put the slot forward towards the string. Now, Ryan, how did you learn to do this? I don't really know. I'm a bass guitar player that started playing guitar 8 or 9 years ago, and I've just figured it out. All right, so it's awesome when these pop back out too. You'll see. Yeah, no, we're cool. So this is going to be our low E. All right, run your string through the correct tuning peg. Which one's the correct one? Kind of depends on your guitar. Typically, the one closest to the edge goes to the one tuning peg closest to you. But I don't know, it kind of depends on your guitar. Now I'm gonna do a luthier's knot, which is, I'll bring the string over to kind of this far side. I'll wrap it to the inside, right? Go under. And then this one, I'm gonna turn towards the front to tighten it, all right? A Martin repairman was the one that made me hit to these. And then when I talked to a friend about it, he acted like, oh, you didn't know? Yeah. So a couple ways you can do this. You can do what I'm doing with your hand, or you can get you one of these little handy dandy winders and make life more better a little bit. I've got some nicer ones, but I had this cheap one handy here. All right, we're nowhere near E. Peg's already popped out, you push it back. We're in the neighborhood there. The luthier not supposed to allow you to keep the guitar in tune. See, because we're gonna do that as it stretches. So now we're gonna do this 5 more times. We'll be right back. This reminds me of a Bible verse, Psalms 33:2. Praise the Lord with the harp. Make music to him on the 10-stringed lyre. Sing to him a new song. Play skillfully and shout for joy. For the word of the Lord is right and true. He is faithful in all he does. All right, we're to the last string, the high E or number 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? The high E being 1, the low E being 6. All right, so we get our string out. This one is 11 gauge. Throw it away so I don't get in trouble later with my wife because I'm a mess. Get your peg. I'm sure this isn't gonna show, but the slot goes towards the sound hole of the guitar. The ball, put the ball in the hole. Use the peg to push it on down in there. All right, you run your string through the hole up there at the tuning peg. You need to take a little bit out. I just go to one side of the guitar or the other because you don't want too much. You don't want too much, you don't want too little. What's the right amount? I don't know. It's like the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop.
How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
1, 2, 3.
The world may never know. All right, so the luthier's knot. We go around to the inside. We go under. We pull that guy up. And then I just kind of hold on both strings as I turn this back. Now on these higher strings on this side, we are turning back towards us, the opposite of the low side of the guitar. Again, every guitar is a little different. I just gotta look at it. You just need to do it a few times. You'll get it figured out. This is an easy DIY project for you. Now this string is the one you break the most. If you're gonna break one, it's almost always the high E. And when you're tuning is when it gets a little scarier. So I've gotten to where I can kind of hear when I'm about there, but you can always throw your tuner on or open your tuning app or whatever else. Just saying I'm at B, which is the 2, right? They're close, but so we need to get up to the E. It's stretching. Now one of the other things you can do is put your finger on the 12th fret, it's your double there, just give that string a little tug. Now it's out of tune. New strings do take a little time, so that's why you want to kind of stretch them the way I showed you there, or just play the bejesus out of it, whatever. All right, so that's where we want it. Now the next issue, this space in between here, between your string and the fretboard, is too high. So we adjust that by tightening the truss rod. Most guitars righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. And here's where my issue comes, is that I don't necessarily have the right tool. So again, I'm doing appropriate things inappropriately. So this should go oh yeah. Now you put it in here and you kind of pull back on it for what we're doing, kind of help it settle in. All right, so I'm gonna keep working on that. Here's the best part. When you get done, clip these danglers off. It's kind of the last piece, is get those clipped off there, clean it up, keep from snagging yourself and everything else. And then I'm gonna keep working on this till we get it set in here. Oh yeah, it's coming down. The strings are coming down. This thing was really up there. Can't believe it was that far off. Man, oh yeah, now we're talking. We're getting in there now, kids. I bet I've dropped it about 2 millimeters. Now, if you get buzzing at your 5th and 7th fret, it means you've done too much. I'm sure I could find the actual spec for this. I'm eyeballing based off what my other guitars look like and what I think feels right and looks right. Depending on what type of person you are, figure it out. What it is you want it to, how you're gonna get there. Now again, all I'm doing is kind of stretching that neck back and telling this truss rod, this is where you live now. Oh, that's so much better. And it's so out of tune, because we've stretched it, we've moved it. Man, that looks so much better. And again, I don't think you'll be able to see it on there. I hope that you could, or that you would. It makes me so much happier to give Ariana back her guitar in a more easily playable fashion. So I have a lot of views on guitars on, I used to think don't buy cheap guitars. I've found some really inexpensive guitars that I like for a beginner. The thing is finding something that the kids can play. Sometimes you get a cheap guitar and that's what you get, and they frustrate the kids and they can't stand them. This is probably Taylor, as a higher end guitar. I don't know that the Baby necessarily is high end, maybe in this price range. Kids should be able to feel comfortable with it. If it's clunky, if the frets don't play, if the strings are too high, especially, that's probably the biggest thing. If the strings are too high, like the neck is warped, sometimes they'll twist. I mean, it's wood. So this is to make sure the neck is in good shape and that it's kept good is important. I don't have a guitar that I would tell you to run out and buy. I do have some inexpensive ones I've bought in the past that I really liked for a beginner. I've had some that I really disliked for a beginner. I think a beginner has just got to feel good for them. God bless. See ya on the next Detour project.